Good afternoon, everyone, especially to our professor, Attorney Selwyn Prada. I am Jenny V. Langres, and together with my co-reporter, Ma'am Kim Maravillas, we will discuss Module 1 titled Introducing to the Philippine Legal System and Education. So, Introduction to Philippine Legal System and Education, and this is the overview of Philippine legal system. Number one is dual influence, civil law and common law. But before that, the Philippines legal system is unique hybrid that blends elements of the civil law from Spain and common law from United States. This mix has resulted from countries' colonial history and its adaptation to modern legal principle. So number one again, the dual influence are civil law and the common law. So I will discuss first the civil law. The civil law tradition inherited from Spain during 200-year rule is evident in the country's codified laws such as the Civil Code, Revised Penal Code, and others statutory laws. This means that legal principles and decisions are largely written in codes, and courts follow the codified laws strictly. Common law, when the United States colonized the Philippines during 1898 to 1946, it introduced the common law system where courts heavily rely on judicial precedents or previous court decision. The practice of stare decisis, adhering to precedents ensures consistency and legal ruling. So, the adverse the adversarial system in Philippines courts where lawyers argue their cases before a judge, and procedural laws such as rules in evidence and trial procedure are also adapted from the US legal system. So number two, this is the hierarchical structures of legal system. So, so the 1987 Philippine Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No law, policy, or action can go against it. So this is the hierarchy of courts in the Philippines. So this is the Supreme Court. Ang under niya, so ang head din sa Supreme Court, ang Chief Justice. So ang under sa Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, Sandigang Bayan, and Court of Tax Appeals. So, Supreme Court, the highest court which makes final rulings on legal matters, it also has the power of judicial review, meaning it can declare laws unconstitutional. And the Court of Appeals here reviews decisions of lower courts to ensure the legal correctness. The regional trial courts handle serious civil and criminal cases. And ang lower niya, so these are the lower of regional trial courts. We have here, it handles less serious cases and preliminary matters. So, including here the metropolitan trial courts, municipal trial courts in cities, municipal trial courts, okay. And then here also is the Sherry District Courts. Okay. So, let's go back here the Sandigang Bayan. Okay. Sandigang Bayan is a special court in the Philippines that has jurisdiction over cases involving corruption, graft, and other offenses. It was established under Presidential Decree number 1606 in 1978. And also naman this one is Court of Tax Appeals is a special court in Philippines that handle cases related to tax and customs disputes. It was established under Republic Act number 1125 and 1954 and later expanded by Republic Act number 9282 and 2004. And Shera District Courts naman are special courts in the Philippines that handle cases involving Muslim personal and family laws. 3. Sources of law in the Philippines. Okay, so the Philippine legal system operates based on multiple sources of law, including here the statutes, laws enacted by the Congress. So, example include the Civil Code, Revised Penal Code, and the Labor Code. Next, the judicial precedents. So this is a case law. Past rulings by the Supreme Court serve as guiding principles for the futures area. So next is administrative rules and regulations. Government agencies create rules to implement laws. Example here, tax rules by the Bureau of International Revenue. Next, the customary laws. Customary laws, this is traditions and indigenous laws, particularly among indigenous communities, are recognized in some cases. So next, number 4, Islamic law for Muslim Filipinos. Okay, the Code of Muslim Personal Laws, Presidential Decree number 1083 applies to Muslim Filipinos, allowing the implementation of Sharia law in matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance, and family relations. Sharia courts operate under the judicial system to resolve such issues. However, in criminals, commercial, and other general legal matters, Muslims are still subject to Philippine national laws. The Philippine legal system is complex due to its historical influences and multi-layered structure. While statutes provide the foundation, judicial decision, administrative rules, and even customary laws shape its application. The recognition of Islamic law for Muslim Filipinos further reflects the legal system's pluralism. This is the number 2 part of my report. So, the historical context, educational, and the Philippines. Philippines, we will go back here first. Okay. The Philippines education system has evolved significantly from pre-colonial times to the modern era. Okay. Shaped by various influences, including Spanish, Americans, and local educational reforms. So the next slide, so this is the first slide, is detailed explanation of each historical period and its impact to education. So number 1 here is the pre-colonial period, okay, before 1521. So informal and community-based learning. So before the arrival okay, of colonizers. Indigenous Filipinos had no formal schools. Instead, education was conducted with the family and the community. So this is the example of they are conducted with the sa ilang mga silingan ba within the family and community. Then oral traditions. Knowledge was passed down through storytelling, chants, and epics, ensuring cultural and historical preservation. Survival skills, education focus on practical skills such as hunting, farming, fishing, weaving, and both making. So, ito, baybayin script, some native Filipinos were literate in the ancient baybayin writing system. So, ito yung mga first writing nila. So, hindi natin talaga ito maintindihan. To Spanish period during 1521 to 1898. Okay. So, by the way, let's go back to my first slide. So, ancient writing, okay, the ancient writing, ilang mga writing before Spanish colonization. So, since nga taga Zamboanga City ko, so kabalo ko mag-Spanish like don dito anda, saan ka pupunta, bien bonita gato, ang ganda-ganda mo. So yun ang mga Spanish. So marunong talaga ako mag-Spanish because I've been working in Zamboanga City for almost 3 years, but hindi ako nagsasalita lagi ng Spanish kasi pinagtatawanan nila ako dahil sa hard ng pronunciation ko. Kasi sabi nila, eh, kaklaro ni mo Bisaya, uy. Ingana sila magbuli sa Zamboanga City. Katawan ka pag imong dila gahi kaayo mo Spanish. But I understand siya ba kano? So number 2, Spanish period. So, religious-based education. The Spanish Catholic missionaries controlled schools with a strong focus on Christianity, Spanish language, and religious values. Next, education of elites. Formal education was mainly for Spanish mestizos and the Principalia, so the wealthy class. So while indigenous Filipinos had a limited access. So the educational decree of 1863, this law created a public school system requiring Spanish primary schools in towns. However, education remained limited and elitist. Higher education, the universities such as Universidad de Santo Tomas, 16 and 1611, and Ateneo de Manila, 1859, were established to educate young men in theology, philosophy, and humanities. So as what I've observed sa mga ancestors or sa mga lolo ng kaluluhan, kahit grade 3 lang ang kanilang natapos, grabe sila mag-English. Grabe, Jud. Lupigan pa ang mga bagong graduates but not all the student nowadays kay naa mga low learners karon nga pertejong di jud kabalo mag-English bisan naa na sa high school or nasa mga grade 6 di sad kabalo mag-English. So number 3, American period in 1898 to 1946. So, secular education, unlike the Spanish system, the Americans introduced a non-religious, secular, and democratic education system. English as the medium of instruction. The American replaced Spanish with English in schools, training Filipinos in reading, writing, and arithmetic. Siguro kung hindi nawala yung Spanish na language sa Pilipinas, siguro lahat tayo marunong mag-Spanish like sa Zamboanga City. At sa ibang ibang dako ng Pilipinas, meron ding mga Spanish ang kanilang language. So, Thomasites 1901, American teachers known as Thomasites were sent to train teachers and establish a strong public school system. So, Tumasite sent to train Filipino teachers and establish a strong. So, nagpadala sila ng mga Filipino teacher. Nagpadala sila ng mga teachers, American teachers. Isang barko talaga siya. Nakita ko sa isang video. Isang barko talaga ang bumiyahe galing America going to Philippines. At lahat na sakay doon ay mga Tumasites teachers, okay, American teachers na gitrain nila ang mga Filipino teachers before. So next, universal primary education. Public schools were expanded, making basic education accessible to all social classes. Next, higher education development institutions like University of Philippines in 1908 were founded to provide advanced education and research opportunities. Commonwealth period and 1935 to 1946. Nationalism and education. The Commonwealth government informed the curriculum to promote Filipino identity, culture, and history. Next, expansion of higher education. Colleges and universities grew to provide education in law, medicine, engineering, and other professional fields. And vocational education. Schools introduced training in agriculture, trades, and home economics to develop practical skills. Number five, post-independence period in the 1946. So this is the present now. Ayan. So, education expansion. After independence, the government more schools developed teacher training programs and expanded secondary and tertiary education. Technical vocational education programs such as TESDA. Okay, so this is Technical Education and Skill Development Authority were established to provide alternative career paths. This is bilingual education in 1974. The government implements a bilingual policy using both Filipino and English as a special languages of instruction. Uh, while alternative learning system, the ALS. So, pag pag pagpasado sa ALS, right, if I'm not mistaken, diretso na siya sa college. Tama ba? So, alternative learning system ALS, introduced by out of the school youth and adults, allowing education through non-traditional means. Kasi may college classmate ako before. So hindi niya natapos yung high school. Pumasa siya sa ALS, diretso sa first year college. And then K to 12 program in 2013%, the K to 12 reform added 2 years to basic education senior high school, aligning the Philippine system with international standards. Okay, I state here, yes, if you pass the ALS accreditation and equivalency exam for senior high school or grade 12, you can proceed directly to college. Just like regular high school graduates, you will receive a diploma equivalent to a senior high graduate from the formal education system with qualifies you for the college admission. So, ito yung nangyari sa kaklase ko sa college. So, next. Conclusion is the Philippine education system has evolved from informal and community-based learning in pre-colonial times for structured, globally competitive model. Today, and Spanish American and post independence reforms have contributed to the development of education, making it more inclusive, accessible, and modern. So, these are the references about my topic. So, you can research this one. So, the references for a Philippine legal system, the the references also for Philippine education system. And this is my question and case problems for my discussion. So Philippine legal system, the question is, how does the dual influence of civil law and common law impact the Philippines judiciary decision making process? So the answer is, civil law ensures that judges follow codified statutes, while common law allows them to use precedents, making the legal system flexible yet structured. This is my case study. A law passed by the Congress contradicts a Supreme Court ruling based on judicial precedent. The question is, which holds more authority? The answer is, the 1987 Constitution is the supreme law. So if the Supreme Court finds the law unconstitutionally, it can be strike it down. Number three, and the problem is, a non-Muslim Filipino wants to involve Sharia law for an inheritance case. Can this be allowed? The answer is no. The Code of Muslim Personal Laws applies only to Muslim Filipinos, and non Muslims must follow national laws. So, the question and case problems for my discussion and historical content of Philippine education. The first question is, what major change did the educational decree of 1863 introduce the Spanish era education system? And the answer is, it established a limited public school system, but education was still restricted mainly to the elites. And the case study, during the American period, a student refuses to be taught in English, insisting on using Spanish. The question is, how should the school respond? And the answer, English was the official of medium of instruction under the American rule, so schools and had to enforce its use in education. And the problem of the discussion, a rural community has no access to traditional schools. What modern solution can be applied based on post-independence education reforms? And the answer is, the alternative learning system ALS provides non-traditional education for those unable to attend formal schools. Thank you so much. I have finished my topic, and my partner, Ma'am Kim Maravellas, will now continue the discussion. Go ahead, Ma'am Kim.
Hi, my name is Kimberly R. Maravilla. So I will be reporting the 1987 Constitution and its provisions on education, which is the Article 14. So the state shall give priority to education, science, and technology, arts, culture, and sports to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. So we have here seven key points. I just get key points and simple explanations only for its provisions. So the first one is the right to education. So section 1, the state guarantees free public education at elementary and high school levels. So every Filipino citizen has the right to free education in public schools and elementary through high school. And the second is quality education, which is this is under section 2. State promotes the quality education by ensuring that educational standards are high and accessible to all. So the government is responsible for improving and maintaining the quality of education in schools across the country. Next is scientific and technological advancements, which is under section 3. The state encourages the development of science, technology, and the arts. So in education, education should not just focus on academics but also on the development of technological and scientific skills for the national progress. So ang education kay dili lang siya mag-focus sa usa ka butang, but of course all throughout para sa progress sa usa ka student. And next is equitable access to education, which is under section 4. So the government ensures equitable access to education by providing support for disadvantaged and marginalized sectors. So the state works to eliminate barriers to education, especially for the poor by making education more accessible to everyone. So of course, just like for example, sa mga like bukid-bukid, sa una wala pa tay access or wala pa access sa internet. So nowadays or karong panahon na actually nahatagan na og opportunity ang naa sa mga lagyo nga lugar, nahatagan na sila og opportunity nga mabutangan og internet, which is very helpful good siya sa tanan kay especially sa mga student kanay mga research papers nga gamon, and if na ay mga like mga case studies nga ilang pangbuhaton, at least na sila access sa internet. And the next one is compulsory education, which is under section 2. Education is compulsory at the elementary level. So children must attend school at the elementary level, and it is a legal requirement for parents to ensure their children receive education. So kabantay mo na ay na trending nga I guess it's Pugo girl ata to sa kuan ni Cherry White. So katong bata is naninda og pugo kada gabi, which is dili gud siya um, angay nga buhaton sa usa ka bata. Bay pagud to. Nya maabtan siya usahay og alas 12 or alaw na sa gabi og paninda. So of course, um, ang kuan sa usa ka ginikanan, ang imuhang role as parent is to send your school sa is to send your children sa school. So of course kay imo man ang gi sudlan, imo jud na siya nga panindigan as parent. Kay mo man jud na siya imuhang nga um, tawag niya responsibilidad para sa imuhang mga anak. And then the next one is establishment of educational institutions. This is under section 5. So the state provides for the establishment of a system of public education that includes state universities and colleges. So the government is responsible for setting up public schools and educational institutions and including universities and colleges to provide higher education opportunities. So, mo na siya usa sa responsibilidad sa usa ka government. So, nga mo paan sila mugama sila or magpadako sila sa usa ka public school or institution or university para lang makahatag sila og higher education and opportunities sa tanan, especially karon na natay mga free tuition na ay mga colleges or universities nga free tuition siya. So of course ang uban nga students kay ilan na siya nga gi-grab as opportunity. And next one is cultural and moral development. This is under section 3. So the education system should foster respect for cultural heritage, values, and human rights. So on this one, schools should teach students to value the nation's culture, ethics, and respect for human dignity and rights. So, muna siya ang cultural and moral development. In summary, sa Article 14 of 1987 Constitution, this actually focuses on ensuring that education is free, accessible, and of high quality for all Filipinos, while promoting national development through science, technology, and cultural respect. All right, so we have these key education philosophies and their influence on legislation. So we have the first bullet, which is Essentialism by William Bagley and James Corner. So in this essentialism, the goal are to instill students with essentials or academic knowledge, patriotism, character development through traditional or back to basic approaches. So it emphasizes core knowledge and structured learning reflected in standardized testing and competency based education. So again, this is the back-to-back approach, and make the teacher make sure that students acquire the 4 R's, which are reading, writing, uh, rhythmic, and right conduct. So essentialists actually believe that there is already a life prepared for everyone. The role of the teachers is to teach learners the basic knowledge, skills, and values. So the teacher's job is to make sure that students would acquire the 4 basic skills, as what I've mentioned earlier. So if you teach them the basic skills, it would be easy for them to adapt or acquire to complex skills if they are already equipped sa basic skills. So, muna siya purpose sa essentialism. So we have progressivism. So in progressivism, this is under John Dewey, learning by doing. It advocates student-centered experiential learning, influence K to 12 reforms, and inquiry-based learning. So sa progressivism, mo ni siya ang ato ang uh, tawag nga kabaliktaran siya sa essentialism and perennialism. The progressivism or progressivist actually believes in change and growth. Nga na ay change and growth for everyone. So learners should be enlightened and intelligent to fully live now. There are times nga busy kahit for preparing for our future that we tend to ignore the present. So instead of preparing sa ato ang future, we should also kana ganing uh, hunahunahon po nato ang ato ang karon nga mo na siya gitawag nga um, there is another day and another story, diba? So we need to live now. We need to fully live now. Dili lang kay para sa future, but all the way sa atong future, from present to future. Next is the perennialism. So perennialism is by Robert Hutchins and Mortimer Adler. So it focuses on classical knowledge and universal truth seen in liberal arts and humanities programs. So aning perennialism, they believe to eternal and unchanged, a eternal, unchanged, and ageless. The perennialism or perennialists, they also believe that the truth is universal, does not depend on circumstances of times, place, and person. They call it transcendent truth and values. So kung unsay ilahang gituhuan sa una, mo pud na ilang gituhuan hangtod karon og mo na gituhuan sa tibuok uh, kalibutan. Mo na ilahang pagtuo. And perennialists also believe that we are all rational animals. So schools should therefore develop the students' rational and moral powers. So muna siya perennialism. We have what we call behaviorism by John Watson, B.F. Skinner. So learning is shaped by reinforcement and structured lesson plans implemented through grading systems and performance evaluation. So for behaviorism, human being is shaped by environment. So magaw sa dayon ani ang istorya nga tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. It is actually an old Spanish saying that means that you can predict a person's behavior by analyzing the people they hang out. So if buutan ka, iingon sila nga mao di ay nga buutan kay iyahang parents ingon ani manggod na siya matinabangon, buutan, um, Diyos nun ana siya. Tapos kung ang imuhang ginikanan or kung ikaw kay bulayagon, 'di ba? Kung ikaw bulayagon ingon pud na dayon nga, mong bulayagon kay iyang papa ingon ani manggod um dili wala ni tiwas sa eskwela, bulayagon, ingon ani ni siya sa una muna siyang naliwat na siya sa iyang ginikanan. So they would judge us based sa accomplishments or failure sa atuang ginikanan. Muna siya behaviorism. This constructivism. So the constructivism generally attributed to John Piaget promotes active learning and real-world problem solving, integrated in project-based learning and modular education. So, aning sa constructivism, um, naati gitawag nga assimilation and accommodation. So, John Piaget identified processes of assimilation and accommodation that are the key in this interaction as individuals construct new knowledge from their experience. So, it happens every day nga naatay mga new learnings nga makatunan. And for example, aning sa assimilation, let's say for example, if ang bata na sila makitaan nga four-legged animal and like, oh, unsa na siya ma? Kung na iyang ginikanan nga, kana siya kay dog. So, mabutang na dayon sa huna-huna sa usa ka bata nga, so if there are or if there are four-legged animal, dog na siya dayon. Okay, mo mailahang nakuanan nga kay upat ka tiil dog ni siya. So if makakita siya og cow, mo na siya assimilation na siya. And if makakita siya og cow, makaingon na dayon na siya nga kani kay four-legged ni siya. So it means dog pud ni siya. So kana siya nga learning mo na siya gitawag nga accommodation because accommodation is a process in which new information replaces old beliefs. So, imo na din igno ng bata nga, no, that animal is bigger than that kaan ka ng sa dog. So, even if four-legged na siya, dili na siya matawag dayon nga dog because that's a cow. So, mugawa sa dayon ang gitawag nga mo siya accommodation na replace ang iyahang existing idea or old beliefs nga dili tanan nga four-legged animal kay dog. Okay? So, angay dyan natong pasabton ang bata if na sila mga like question or mga um, kanang ganing nalibgan or mga bag-ong mga butang nga makit-an, dapat pasabton yun sila natong unsa na siya ug unsay difference ana nila kay mogawas na dahil na mo na siya ang gitawag nato nga assimilation and accommodation. Kung unsay ang nakatunan before, niya i-apply niya sa tanan, like pareha ng four-legged na siya, so tanan na pud lamang ani four-legged is dog. So dili dapat pasabton nimo na siya nga unsay kalahian sa four-legged okay na dog. The importance of key education philosophies and their influence on legislation is that educational philosophies play a crucial role in shaping how education systems are structured, delivered, and assessed. These philosophies influence not only classroom practices but also the development of legislation that governs the educational framework. By understanding key educational philosophies and their impact on legislation, we can better comprehend how education systems evolve to meet societal needs, prepare future generations, and reflect cultural values. So that's it for today. That's all for my report. So thank you so much and have a blessed Sunday.